I'm Assad Ahmed, this is BBC London and this is what's on the programme tonight. We see how landlords are bypassing short-term let rules so they can rent their properties throughout the year on sites like Airbnb. We go with those trying to expose the rule breakers.
We were in no doubt that these properties are being let permanently right through the year.
The 90-day law is being made a mockery of here in London.
Airbnb says it takes action against anyone flouting the law. Our special report is coming up, also on the programme. Following a record year of rough sleeping in the capital, we find out what's being done to help this winter.
Forwards for one last opportunity. Phillips with the header.
Yeah, from scoring goals to inspiring others, a former professional footballer who's opening up about his neurodiversity. And find out where in London hundreds of students are gathering tonight to celebrate a Hindu festival. Good evening. Landlords have found a way of bypassing rules which are designed to protect rental properties from becoming holiday homes. London is a huge market for online platform Airbnb, and over the years an increasing number of homes have come off the rental market as landlords opt for daily lets. It's why a rule was introduced about a decade ago to limit short-term lets unless a landlord has the correct licence. But BBC London and BBC Verify has found some landlords have a way to beat the system. Guy Lynn has this special report.
On the front line of the crackdown on illegal short lets. At the Park West block of flats in Paddington, officers from Westminster City Council suspect landlords are illegally turning homes into hotel rooms.
Are you renting this property on a short-term basis, or
I don't know anything.
You don't know anything?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm from Westminster City Council.
They're checking if flats have been used as short-term lets for more than 90 nights, the legal limit in London, without planning permission.
We're checking out, not all of them, but ones where we've had short-term letting in the past.
But although the residents know it's happening,
all you see is suitcases in or out, or you see people come in with a massive load of stuff.
it's a frustrating mission for the officers.
The biggest issue I think we face is around enforcement. It's trying to demonstrate that that 90-night limit is being breached. We were in no doubt that these properties are being let permanently right through the year.
London is one of Airbnb's biggest success stories, with tourists choosing homes over hotels. But every flat used for short lets is one fewer for renters, something critics say is driving up prices. In 2015, the government set a 90-night cap in London, partly to help protect housing for locals. Those like Kieran, fresh out of uni and struggling to find somewhere affordable near work.
I see Airbnb do all these short-term lets, see the prices they're offering, and I'm starting to realise that not only the supply decreasing because of Airbnb, but also the prices are rising. It makes me feel quite depressed as somebody that thought they could move here for a job, enjoy a life with a part of London.
Airbnb disputes its role in pushing up rents. On the site, anyone trying to rent for more than 90 days is supposed to be blocked automatically by Airbnb's systems. But is it doing enough to stop landlords trying to get round the 90-day rule on its site? Research by the BBC suggests not.
I was quite shocked, to be honest. I wouldn't expect to see this behaviour on the platform, so it's surprising to see what we have.
BBC Verify used photo matching software to analyse Airbnb's many thousands of London listings on a single day. Nearly 1,300 had duplicate photos, suggesting the same homes are being relisted and landlords are trying to get round the law.
The 90-day rule is meant to strike a balance between hosts who want to operate in the sharing economy and, preserving rental housing stock. So if hosts are operating year-round, it's a sign that this rule is very difficult to enforce in practice.
On these websites, the same properties are listed in multiple places with fake addresses, and we've raised this with the platforms multiple times. They say they're taking action, but the action isn't commensurate to the scale of the challenge because the 90-day law is being made a mockery of here in London.
We asked Airbnb about what we found. They told the BBC it's the only platform that automatically caps whole home lets in London at 90 nights a year, unless hosts prove they have permission to go further, and said it acts when councils raise concerns.
Hello there. Hi, sorry to disturb you. We're from Westminster City Council.
At Park West, the block once said to host more tourists each night than the Ritz, officers are still trying to pin down who's really living in the flats. We asked the building management for a response to our findings. They didn't come back to us. And our BBC investigation shows landlords in hundreds of other blocks across London appear to be trying to get round the 90-day rule, meaning fewer homes for the people who actually live here. Guy Lynn, BBC London.
Yeah, it's an interesting issue, that one. And if it's an issue which affects you, either you're a landlord looking to bypass the system and you think it's unfair how things currently stand, or maybe you're somebody looking for a place to rent in London and it's problems like that which prevent you from doing so, do get in touch with us. We want to hear as many stories as we can. It's the usual email address for any of your stories to get in touch with us. It's hello@bbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Always good to hear from you. Well, this is BBC London, of course, and here's a look at what's coming up on Sunday.
Hi, coming up on this week's Politics London, we will discuss London's grooming gangs and meet the women working to tackle the issue here in the capital. So do join me, Samantha Simmons, this Sunday at 10 a.m. on BBC One. See you then.
Police believe a hotel manager who's now in prison for rape and sexual assaults may have more victims who haven't yet come forward. Ahmed Fahmy from Barnet attacked both hotel guests and staff. Detectives today launched a BBC Crime Watch appeal, which Sophia Seth can tell us more about.
His role gave him the opportunity to exploit vulnerable victims.
Ahmed Fahmy was a hotel manager who sexually assaulted hotel guests and staff and was found to use his position to indulge in his foot fetish.
We had someone who I believe presented a significant risk to the public, and the right thing to do was to look into Ahmed Fahmy's past. We were able to see that a number of allegations had been made against him. So it was quite alarming. The allegations went back a significant period of time, and one thing stood out. A number of the offences were centred around feet and what appeared to be a sexual fetish or desire in respect of feet. And that extended to allegations of, massaging people's feet, licking people's feet, touching people's feet.
In this Crime Watch video, police highlight how accusations against Fahmy dated back 17 years, from 2008 to last year.
You're currently under arrest on suspicion of rape.
Oh, whoa.
Okay, so you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you may later rely on in court.
Dubbed a dangerous man by the judge, Fahmy was sentenced to a decade behind bars and 3 years on extended licence for the rape of one woman and sexually assaulting 3 others.
There was a real sense of relief at that point. However, I know from looking at the frequency with which he's alleged to have offended and the type of victims that he targeted, I have to consider whether there are other victims out there.
Now the police hope with this Crime Watch appeal that more people affected will come forward. Sophia Seth, BBC London News.
Let's take a look at some other news making the headlines in and around London. A man who was fined for burning a copy of the Quran outside the Turkish consulate in London has won his appeal against his conviction. 51-year-old Hamit Koskun shouted anti-Islamic abuse as he held the burning book in Knightsbridge last February. More than 6,000 civilian Metropolitan Police staff are to go on strike in a dispute over pay. Members of the Public and Commercial Services Union will walk out after they were refused a London allowance of over £1,000 a year, which is paid to police officers. We still have 82 days until New Year's Eve, but tickets for London's New Year's Eve fireworks go on sale next week. The Mayor's office says the first tickets will be available from midday next Friday. Prices for Londoners start at £20. For those living outside London, prices start at £40, which is up on last year. Now, a disturbing statistic from London councils tells us that 1 in 50 Londoners are homeless and a record number of children are in temporary accommodation. We also know there was an unprecedented number of people sleeping rough in London last year. So to help over the winter period, tens of millions of pounds is being given to councils. Here's Frankie McCamley.
At a homeless hub in Hackney, the Minister for Homelessness, just weeks into the job, says she's shocked at the crisis unfolding in London.
Here in the capital, we've seen an increase in rough sleeping, which can't go on. So the urgency of this challenge is not unexpected to me, but I am quite shocked by it, and I think that deserved urgent action.
She's announcing just over £36 million to help people in temporary accommodation or those rough sleeping at one of the very few places left where people can get face-to-face housing and health support.
Important, I'd probably say overdue as well. I think it's really important that we have people in positions of power who can come to a service like this, see the work that we're doing on the ground, speak to our clients, see the benefits of a service like this and look at potentially funding more places like this across the country.
As the visit took place, Em is in the queue waiting for support to get off the streets.
I like to see it spent on the people that really need it. I like to see it spent on the people who are really suffering.
He says, though, getting help isn't easy.
They expect you to have an Android phone. They expect you to have a tablet. They expect you to have a laptop. And they expect you to have an email address and be a whiz kid and keep up to date.
On World Homeless Day, St Mungo's charity are fundraising and engaging with passengers on the issue.
The outreach workers here at Victoria Station are focusing their efforts here because they say a lot of rough sleepers will come here to get a bit of warmth, to use the facilities sometimes because they're free. And with so many cafes and restaurants around, the hope is some of these passengers will buy them some food.
The charity here says the money is welcome, with homelessness now affecting more families than ever before.
We've seen numbers increase and get worse year on year, but we also see people who have just not been able to hold on to the roof over their head because of cost of living prices. People in employment, but their income is not covering their rent anymore. They're having to give up their house and sleep in their car. So there are lots of factors going on here, and specifically and chronically, that shortage of affordable housing means people can't afford somewhere to live.
Which is exactly what Kirsty hears when she's out with those who have already lost their homes.
Until there is, a real shift in providing adequate housing, it's sort of like putting a plaster over like a gaping wound, but we need housing.
The government has proposed building 2 new towns in the capital as a long-term solution, desperately needed. Otherwise, scenes like this will continue to be the norm. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.
Our political reporter Susanna Mendonça. More than £36 million given to London councils to tackle homelessness this winter. To me, that sounds like a lot of money. But is it?
The answer is no, but it's something. I was speaking to a London Assembly member earlier who said that it's not a lot of money to solve a big problem. And the reality is that homelessness is a huge issue in London. Just to put it into context, London councils are currently spending a total of around £5 million every single day just on temporary accommodation for homeless families. If you take into account all of the extra money that they spend around wider homelessness, it actually rises to £5.5 million a day. And so 36 million in that context really does look like a drop in the ocean, particularly as only £7 million of that goes to temporary accommodation, the rest are rough sleeping. That said, London councils and the mayor have said that they've welcomed this. The London councils told me that it shows that the government understands the need in London, particularly around rough sleeping in the run-up to those colder winter months. And political opponents on the London Assembly have also welcomed this money, but they've pointed to rising rents and also the need for more affordable housing to solve this issue.
OK, Susanna Mendonça, many thanks. Well, the time now is 6:46. Gatwick Airport had more police than usual this week. It's because Border Force officers have joined Project Surveyor. It's a national policing initiative aimed at disrupting a range of criminal activity, including terrorism. Leanne Ryan was given exclusive access to the project at the airport.
Border Force officers working side by side with police at Gatwick Airport to disrupt criminal activity, including terrorism. It's the first time Border Force have taken part in what's called Project Servitor, a national policing strategy launched 10 years ago.
It's about engagement and intelligence gathering primarily around counter-terrorism but also criminality at the airport, and by putting us out with our partners from both Border Force, the airport, British Transport Police, it allows us to have a real high visibility presence in areas of high footfall to reassure the public but also to encourage them to tell us what isn't normal for them, and we can then deal with that both in partnership but also the public have got a vital part to play in making sure we keep the airport safe.
The idea is that specially trained officers are able to spot telltale signs that people might be preparing or planning to commit a crime. And also just their visible presence here is supposed to be reassurance to the public. People can approach them if they have any concerns.
In general, we're looking at getting more police out in the streets into the communities, but it's also really important at ports around the country, at events around the country. It makes you feel safe, but also it's really effective in recognising and identifying hostile reconnaissance and also putting people off from conducting crime or, of course, terrorism.
Project Servitor involves police carrying out highly visible and unpredictable deployments that can happen anywhere at any time.
I'd like to reassure the public that when they're seeing more Border Force officers, it is a high visibility operation. This is about giving them the reassurance that the environment here in the port, we're increasing safety, we're increasing the security of the port environment. There's no need to be alarmed. These deployments are taken at random. We don't have a specific threat that we're looking for, but this is all about enhancing and increasing the security of the airport.
Border Force say working with police as part of Project Servitor is something they will now be looking to roll out at ports across the country.
That's Leanne Ryan reporting. Now you're watching BBC London. Stay with us for this. You can find out where hundreds of students are gathering in London tonight to celebrate a Hindu festival. Lots of boys and girls dream of becoming professional footballers, and someone who made it was Londoner Mark Phillips. Now retired, he's learned that he has the neurodevelopmental disorder ADHD. Well, after gaining courage from footballers from the women's game, he wants to see more openness about the condition. He spoke to Chris Legg.
Mark Phillips lived the dream of many, a career as a pro footballer.
Phillips with the header.
He won promotion with Brentford, was Southend's Player of the Year and appeared more than 60 times for Millwall. But beneath the highs were lows, some of which he believes were caused by ADHD. Now 43, he was diagnosed in March.
Underneath the surface, always known I'm different in some kind of way, and over the years it kind of manifests in kind of negative ways that you compare yourself to others. You kind of you become different characters trying to kind of fit in with places. Before I got diagnosed, I saw my career as a failure, which is quite a sad thing to say.
So what is ADHD?
It's predominantly a neurodevelopmental disorder that has a persistent pattern of inattention and/or hyperactivity and impulsivity that impacts a person's ability to focus, control impulses, and manage their energy levels.
The PFA did a survey recently and it disclosed that 60% of footballers who have a neurodivergent condition wouldn't feel comfortable reporting that to their club. Now, you didn't know you had one when you were playing, but if you had, would you have felt comfortable?
As a footballer, as a young footballer who hadn't maybe striving to be in a team and wasn't kind of cemented my career as a solid first-team player, I don't think I would have said it, because there's always that worry in the back of your head. I think that percentage is probably higher.
Through his website, The ND Footballer, Mark wants to encourage more openness of a subject rarely talked about in men's football. He's been inspired by England and Chelsea star Lucy Bronze and Manchester United and Wales goalkeeper Safia Middleton-Patel, who have both gone public with their diagnosis of neurodivergent conditions.
I think it's amazing. I think that vulnerability that the women are showing is such a human characteristic that we can all kind of buy into. We all struggle to express our weaknesses, our vulnerabilities, but actually that's what I've learned, that they're actually strengths. So it's so powerful, these players, sports people, to be role models for other people who are struggling, and you can kind of look at them and think, they did it, why can't I?
Mark Phillips is certainly a role model too. Chris Slegg, BBC London.
Well, if you want more information about ADHD, or if you have ADHD, support, advice and help is available on the BBC Action Line. The web address, of course, as you can see, is on your screen now. Now, the popular Hindu festival of Navratri ended last week. It lasted 9 nights, which is where the name comes from, and it celebrates the triumph of good over evil. Well, being an Indian festival, it's never too late to celebrate, I can tell you that. So tonight, the National Hindu Students Forum is bringing hundreds of students together in Harrow to do just that. The night has just begun. Wendy is there for us now. Wendy.
Hi, Asad. Yeah, it's colourful, it's sparkly, it's very loud. There's some fantastic music here. This is an Navratri event in Harrow, as you said, and behind me is some joyful dancing just beginning that is known as the Garba. Now, this event has been organised by the National Hindu Students Forum, and I have some representatives with me on the forum. Let's have a chat to them. Gina, first of all, tell me a little bit about the Navratri festival and the symbolism behind it.
Yeah, so Navratri actually means 9 nights, and this is one of the biggest Hindu festivals in the calendar. So what Navratri actually means is we are celebrating Ma Durga. So that's one of the female deities, and we really come together to celebrate Shakti, which is the divine strength. And each day we celebrate a different form, and we celebrate female strength. We have a Gerbil pot, which is what's in the middle, and we dance in circles around. This is just one of the ways that we celebrate. There's different ways to celebrate all around India, but it's really a time for the community to come together, sort of refocus, and yeah, it's a really good way to celebrate.
And this is an event that's been nationwide. You've organised more than just this one, haven't you?
So yeah, this is one of 4 events that we have nationwide. So in the last couple of weeks, we've hosted similar Navratri events like this in Manchester, Southampton and Leicester. Our kind of, the reason behind this is to kind of give these university students this experience whilst they wouldn't get it at home, whilst they wouldn't get it at university, for example. It's kind of our way of keeping these traditions alive, bringing university and school students together to celebrate their culture.
And what's going to be happening tonight?
So you can see we've just started. The music's getting loud. What we have here is we have students coming from around 10 to 12 different universities across London and the South. They're all coming here to celebrate. We have our deities in the middle, as you can see, and what we're doing is a traditional folk dance. That will be followed by what's called an arti, so we'll be doing prayers in the middle, and then we have a different type of dance called dandiya, which you might have seen with the sticks that we'll be doing later on. There's food, we'll be selling ice golas, which is a bit like popsicles, traditional food, yeah, music and dancing, and just a really good time for everyone to come together.
Absolutely, it sounds like a lot of fun. I think it just leaves you then, Aria, just to wish everybody a good night. Would you like to do that straight into the camera?
Yeah, we hope that you've all had an amazing Navratri over the 9 days, and from NHSF UK to all of you, happy Navratri.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Well, as you can see and hear, this is gearing up to be a wonderful night of colour, dance and joy. Lots of young people from across London, very proud of their British Hindu heritage. Asad.
Yeah, we can certainly hear the music loud and clear. Thanks very much for that, Wendy. Now let's get a look at the weather forecast. And Chris, we had a really dry summer, a dry kind of few months, and although we're sort of into autumn, winter now, it's not really become that wet, has it? I mean, a bit of rain, but not that much, really.
Yeah, well, we're in the middle of quite a dry spell at the moment with high pressure with us, and that high is actually going to be around right the way through the weekend and next week. There will be some subtle changes, though, mind you. Today, we've had a lot of this cloud in the sky. This is stratocumulus, and although it looks quite a grey cloud, it's actually really quite thin. It's only a few hundred metres thick, so anyone that's flown into London today would have noticed how quickly it'd go through that cloud layer. Now, with areas of high pressure, we always get air sinking down through the atmosphere, and when that happens, the air warms up. That layer of warm air is 1 kilometre above the ground, and it's that's trapping cloud at the moment. The high pressure is going to move around a little bit this weekend, and so I'm a bit more optimistic that the clouds should break for us and we'll see some sunshine. That's been the case further north today in Scotland. Look at all those clearer skies out in the North Sea. So I think there is reason to be reasonably optimistic about the clouds finally going to go. Overnight tonight, though, I think we'll probably keep the cloud for most of the night, and that will keep temperatures up, give or take, about 10 to 12 degrees Celsius for many of us. I think the big question for tomorrow is, well, how quickly the cloud breaks. I think it could be breaking quite quickly in the morning, so I'm pretty optimistic we should see some sunshine come through before long. Once the cloud's gone, there's nothing above it, so we'll be out in clear blue sunny skies. I think that's the way the weather's going to go. Now, temperatures will reach highs of around 17, maybe 18 degrees in the centre of London. It's going to feel quite pleasant in the sunshine, given the light winds come the afternoon. Similar kind of weather picture as well for Sunday. You might start the day with a few mist and fog patches, then some sunshine into the morning. We may well then start to pull in some cloud off the North Sea, so it may well turn a bit cloudier through Sunday afternoon. Temperatures, well, 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. Now, this area of high pressure that's with us throughout the course of the weekend is going to be hanging around for most of next week as well. It does change orientation a little bit, and I suppose that will mean that we'll start to get more of an east or southeasterly wind developing and moving in across the UK. But what that wind will actually do is be dragging some cooler air in that's originated from Scandinavia. So temperatures actually will start to dip down towards the end of next week, but you can see a lot of dry weather around with variable cloud and some spells of sunshine. So no rain in sight, Assad.
Yeah, no, look forward to that. Thanks very much for that, Chris. Now, before we go, a reminder of some stories in the headlines today. Thousands of displaced Palestinians are travelling back to the north of Gaza after Israel confirmed the ceasefire agreement with Hamas had come into effect. The deal will also see the return of all hostages in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and the delivery of much-needed aid to the territory. Thousands of people lined the streets of Manchester this morning to pay their respects to the boxing great Ricky Hatton as a procession made a 10-mile journey to the city's cathedral for his funeral service. Prince William has held back tears as he spoke to a woman whose husband took his own life during filming to mark the launch of the National Suicide Prevention Network. The Prince's Royal Foundation is contributing £1 million towards the network. And a BBC investigation has exposed many landlords who appear to be using duplicate listings to rent their properties illegally all year round on Airbnb. Well, the online site says it takes action against rule breakers. That's it. I'm back at 10:30 with our late news tonight on BBC One. On behalf of the BBC London Early Evening News team, have a very good evening.